Hi, and welcome to College Planning Untangled, where we help simplify the lives of our families that are thinking about and planning for college. I'm Kristin Clark. I'm a career exploration coach for 16 to 26-year-olds, and I am here with Bobby Hood, our online tutoring expert for the SAT and ACTs. Bobby, how's life treating you today?
Just great. Excited to talk about, college, the life of being in college, right? That's what everybody's thinking about right now. It's getting very close to decision day for the students who haven't already made it, right? And so everybody's starting to think about it and think about dorms and, getting, getting parking and getting dorms and deciding about cars and all those things. That's what we're here to
Yes. And, I found this study that was done last year by CampusESP. And it was really interesting. They talked about what families and parents' biggest wants and needs are for their college students and their college experience. So it was very interesting. And I think the parents will find this rather interesting as well. And how life has changed, Bobby.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Absolutely. Yeah. When I looked at this, it really surprised me because it wasn't what I remembered from a long time ago when I went to college.
right. Yeah. And the most interesting one to me, we're going to talk about last. We've got 4 different subjects that we want to talk about today. But the very first one is that parents want to hear from their college weekly. 85% of parents, they're like, yes, I need to hear from the college itself weekly.
Yeah,
And I
that's
thought,
interesting. I mean, that would have been impossible back when we were in college.
right? For sure. And, I know that the types of things that they're talking about is what kind of events are happening at the college and all of those good things. But yeah, I was kind of like, that's very interesting because I can tell you that when my boys were in college, I wasn't hearing from the college or university consistently like that. And
Certainly.
by the way, the hope here is with the study is that this is being shared with the colleges and universities so that they
Yeah.
can start adding these things into the mix.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I guess that's what they want, right? And yeah, and what's really happening? Maybe not. That's what they wish. That's may mean they just wish they got better communication from colleges, right? And they just
Absolutely.
people don't want to be in the dark about what's going on, and that
Yeah.
is that makes sense.
Here's the second one that I think is, again, very different from what we experienced. 41% of parents are in touch with their student daily, their college student.
Yeah, that certainly isn't what it was like back when we were in college, but
No.
of course we didn't have texting and we didn't have cell phones, and uh, so it makes a lot of sense. It was hard, you'd have your weekly phone call, right? Call on
Sunday
Sunday or
night.
whatever, right? Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And now it makes sense that you would be texting all the time if you're in good communication with your parents, just talking about things, right?
Yeah.
And so it says, yeah, 41% of students do that. I would imagine most of that is texting, but I think that's very healthy. I mean, that'd be very good, right?
Bobby, I love that. And I'm sure parents are very happy to hear that. Now, I still got to tell you, and I'm sure you hear this too, I still hear the parents talking about, I don't know, I never hear from them. They might be dead. I'm not quite sure. But it's good to know that we got a lot
Well,
of
I mean, that's what they're saying.
communication.
41%. I mean, that's still more than half aren't, right? And but so I mean, I think that's something that to think about, right? To be like when you're having those conversations, like talk about like those expectations and be like, hey,
Yes.
you
Before
know,
your kiddo goes off, right, to college,
right?
it's like, hey, let's just keep talking. I'm not going to be intrusive. And moms, you got to be careful not to do that. So,
I mean,
right.
I think it would be reasonable to try to set up some kind of expectation that's like once every couple of days, send me a text just so I know like classes are going good. Tell me something because if you don't,
I
after about
will.
a week, I'm going to start harassing you. And so if you just will pop me a text once every couple of days, I'll be good.
I
That
know.
might be a wise thing to do because otherwise you're sitting there wondering, oh my gosh, because students can go dark and suddenly not go into class. And that's when the problems start. And so you wouldn't know. And so I think it'd be really good to aim for that.
Yes. The third thing is parents want to be more involved with their college or university. Now, this is another one that kind of blew my mind where I was
Yeah.
like, and those things, just to give you an idea, being on parent boards, volunteering for events or activities, and then also meeting prospective parents and then other parents that are in your local area.
Mhm.
So, and I love that too, because I got to tell you, when I went to like parents' weekends and that kind of
Sure.
stuff for my boys, they were kind of boring. And
Yeah.
I would have been happier probably being involved, because, when you go those freshman and sophomore years, they don't really know what to do with you either, because you're
Mhm.
not going to sit in their dorm room, right?
Right.
So I can see where parents want to get more involved and, get to know their university and where all their money's going to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it surprised me because I did not know that there were that many opportunities to be involved as a parent, and so that's
And there might
interesting to
not
find
be
out.
yet, just
Right.
so you know. I mean, this is what the parents are saying they want.
Yeah.
88%, or I'm sorry. Um,
Yeah.
it's
40%
even the,
want to be more involved, I think it said, right? Yeah.
yep, I didn't write that one down, so I'm going to
Yeah.
trust you on that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's what I'm seeing on there. And yeah. And so and I think there may be something here that, a lot of students, probably a lot more students go to college very close to home, more than we think, right? And so parents would probably want, if you're going to college that's, within an hour of driving distance, it's probably there's lots more parents, there's lots more ability to be involved. Whereas if you're off at a state school, 3 states away.
fact girl,
Yeah.
it's just under 100 miles on average that a student lives away from home. And
Yeah.
of course, I always have to give the disclaimer, since we're in Texas. Texas is an awfully big state. So, just expect if you live in Texas, it's probably more. Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah. People drive more than 100 miles for work sometimes in
I
Texas.
know, right? Well, not quite, but yeah, it feels like it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And here's the last fact. And of course, with me working with kids on helping them get careers, this one stuck out for me. But here's what parents say that they truly want for their kids. And that is 88% of them said financial stability and job satisfaction is what parents want. That didn't,
Yeah, that's what they want. Yeah, I see that in that they want.
did it go in?
Yeah, they want their children, they want college to end with that, right? For their student. They want the student to be getting trained for a financial stability and job satisfaction. And
Yeah.
that's interesting because that should have been the number one thing. You're right. Right?
Well, not only the number one thing, Bobby, but what surprises me with all of this is, if that's what parents are wanting,
Mhm.
then why are we not going to our high schools, going to our colleges, and really talking about that, as well as, and I think this is probably the most important one, making sure at home that we're talking about career and what's going to help you get satisfied about X career.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's what you and I talk about here so much on College Planning Untangled is that I guess people just think that that's the college's job,
Or
right?
the high school's job.
Or the high school's job,
Yeah.
but it's not going to get there only if you're very, very lucky. But if you have those conversations at home, you can absolutely find pathways that will take you there. But you have to be actively involved in it, and that's the big
You
message, right? You
you
can't just
do.
want it to happen.
Right. And you're right. You do have to be actively involved in that. And I will tell you this, and I'm pulling up my career conversations
Mhm.
program that I have for parents, but I advocate that you can actually start talking about careers as early as elementary school,
Absolutely.
and it's just, let's get kids thinking about and excited about thinking about career, and not career as work, but career as, wow, this is something I get to do, not something that I have to do. So you can find these career conversation workbooks in my website, which I'm going to post right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like, guys, let's start talking about this, especially if it's this important to families when they're thinking about sending their kids off to college.
Mhm. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's the key. And so it always kind of circles back to that is you got to talk, right? It all starts with talking and getting in these conversations, and it's never too early to start. You can just start with very simple things, right? But
Yes, and I do, and I outline those very simple things, Bobby, in
right,
these workbooks. I've got one for elementary, one for middle, one for high school, and one for college.
oh,
And
excellent.
yeah, you're right. None of the exercises and the activities in there actually are supposed to be fun and interesting, and, you know, start those conversations so that your kiddo, when they're heading off to college, you know, by the time they get there, they have an idea of which direction they want to go. So
Absolutely. Right. And that changes it from like nagging to an actual conversation that can be enjoyed and can be productive. And that's what it's all about.
that is what it's all about. And quite honestly, you know, in my head, that's what college is about, is preparing us for those adult, you know, jobs.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that's great. Well, you can everybody can look at that link that we posted in the notes, and you can download this full report, and it's got lots of interesting stuff in it. So I mean, it's a lot of stuff that surprised me for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, Bobby.
Alrighty.